So there's another little pond right over there that catches the water that used to flow down through this secondary valley. And it used to go down that valley all the way to the road, kind of spreading as it went. So this interrupted it and caught that water that was flowing down the valley. And then the overflow for that pond is into this swale. So it would fill up this swale 3 or 4 times a year, all the way here. And then it can't flow back into there because of the way I have the level sill spillway set. So all the water in the swale would then soak in. Now I have it coming from this way and from this way. So this swale stays full almost all winter long. And it's soaking in water. And then on the berm side of this swale is all planted in productive tree yields. Trees, berries, medicinals, all kinds of stuff all along this whole way. So this is this is like a zone 3 or intensively managed area of perennials. And then on the other side of that swale is what is called an inner swale, and it's what we grow annual crops. And because this swale stays charged with water, we don't have to irrigate any of that stuff on the inner swale because it's all sub-irrigated. It's all irrigated through water that's held in the soil by the charge that comes through the winter. So you can see some of the Siberian pea shrubs up against the fence lines with the yellow flowers that Andrew had asked about. Okay, I'll say a couple more things about swales. Is most of the year they're dry, right? And they become a level walking path. So you can push a wheelbarrow along here. You can walk, you can harvest. This becomes a giant raised bed. You can plant, and the way this is situated, this is south, right? This is hot and dry edge. That's cool, moist edge. So all of a sudden you get these microclimates on both sides of this swale. If this was closer in our zone 1, I could put the hot, dry loving things, the tomatoes, the peppers, the eggplants, the basil, all that stuff on this side. And then I put the cool, moist stuff on the other side, the cucumbers, the lettuce, all that stuff. So by texturing the landscape like this, it gives you a lot of functionality. And there's a little sign over there that illustrates a little bit more about how the water soaks in and stuff.
So Brian, are you saying that this is adequate to charge the soil, that you're not having to do that hand water?
I don't water it. I water if I am just put in seeds and I want to get germination on that top layer. Once the roots set, I don't water anything all summer long.
That's amazing. So when the water's going, I guess, northward, it goes through this.
Yeah, so
up and
when
all
this
the way
is
to the small.
when this is full, the water's up to here,
Okay.
and it's like over to here. And then, like if it stops raining for a long period of time, it soaks in. It's really obvious, like in the winter, when you get an ice layer on it, and then the ice starts collapsing down because the water's like soaking in to the ground. So if you look at the sign, so some water always flows 90 degrees to slope, right? So if your slope's this way, the water's flowing 90 degrees to that. Depending upon your soils, some of that goes down, down, down and recharges your aquifer. If your soils are really rich in organic matter, it wicks and it goes more horizontally. It's still going 90 degrees to slope, but it's wicking up through capillary action up to where the organic matter is, more on the surface layer of soil. So when the water level reaches right there, it comes over here and it floods this. But because of this little rise, it can't go back into there once the water level stops. So it sits in there. So it's all about doing this earthworks in very precise manner. So you're doing jujitsu with how the water moves through the landscape. And then when this whole system fills up, the secondary spillway is over here, and it just kind of works its way down and it gets caught again in this other swale and it pulls it across horizontal. So I will say, from my studio down there all the way up was just pasture 10 years ago.
Flat.
Flat.
Well, slope.
Yeah, yeah. No swales. And so through careful observation and over a period of time, all of these systems have been put in. And we had more annual beds in through here. But now we're, like, I put in that swale, put in these plants, but now I'm echoing that. So I'm putting a secondary layer of perennial plants. And I'll start widening this edge into perennials. So I don't need all this annual.
Do you actually harvest most of the berries and nuts and all that sort of stuff, or does a lot of it just on the ground and fertilized ground?
Well, we do U-pick. We sell to restaurants. We process a lot. But yeah, this is way more than one family needs for sure. No, we do a lot of U-pick. This is kind of like an experiential family adventure. You can come and pick a whole host of things all at the same time. And then we a lot of these are specialty crops. So this is not your standard raspberry, blueberry kind of farm. And so you have a high value crop. That's a mulberry tree right there, by the way. You know,
This one right here?
yeah, that's only been there 4 years, and it's probably paid for itself like 50 times over in selling mulberries versus what I paid to buy the plant. Let's go on through this way. Let everybody gather up. So these cages have, if you look down on the bottom, you might see asparagus.
Snake in there.
Oh yeah, we got lots of snakes.
I know, I was waiting to see one. Asparagus. Asparagus grows like a grows.
This whole patch used to be asparagus. We planted 20-something years ago, and it's kind of fizzled out into just a few clumps, so we're changing everything up. But, so okay, swales. There's all kinds of scales of swales, right? There's swales that you can dig by hand. So all of these garden beds, the footpath is a swale, right? If you put your garden beds on contour. So on the smallest home garden, if you build your garden beds on contour, you've built a swale. All of these footpaths, when they're defined like that one, we just started working this up, so it's a little undefined. And the chickens were here, they undefine it for you. But once they're defined, those fill up with water in the winter. They're just holding water and snow. And then that just soaks in. It doesn't go anywhere, it just soaks in. So you're charging that up. All the way to like a big swale like this. You know, this I did with a tractor, box blade, and moved a bunch of material, most of it going on the mound. Kind of the rule of thumb it depends on your slope of your landscape, but the rule of thumb is like the height of this tree, if you go over level, it should hit the base of that swale. So that's like how close or far apart you should be. So on steeper slopes, swales are closer together. On shallower slopes, they can be further apart. Because the water doesn't move that fast on shallow slopes. It moves faster on steep ground. And over ground about 10% grade, you don't want to be doing swales. Because you can cause unstable ground. You can get slips.
This is around to protect it.
So, but you can see, you get a swale. This is a nice wide one. So I can pull my chicken tractor through here. I can drive my tractor through here. It's a very easy walking swale. And I just re-sculpted it, so it's not grassed in quite as nice as I'd like on this back slope. But yeah, and you can see this is a little bit older. I've kind of did these in sections. So from here over to there is maybe like 8 years old. And from here that way is maybe 6 years old. So I kind of had to do it in chunks because I had a crop in the way or something, or I didn't want to take on too much all at once. Because I do usually do this in the fall, and you want to get things established and a cover crop on it and stuff before rains come. So I don't take on too big a project if I can't get it finished. So we got autumn olives, rhubarb, all kinds of different currants, blueberries on the other side. So the other side is really wet. Let's see, let's go this way.